What is up, everyone? I'm Joe. Appreciate you stopping by the channel. So today we're honing a Wade and Butcher. I picked this up at an antique shop in Vermont. The original scales were broken, but the blade was in exceptional condition. So I figured, for the price, I couldn't say no, especially since it's a Wade and Butcher. It didn't really need a lot of work, just a little bit of a polish, and now we're going to hone it. So we're going to be starting off. I'm going to edit some of this because depending on how long it goes, I'm going to edit some of this. We're going to start off on the Shapton 1K, then we're going to go 5K, 8K, and then we're going to jump to my French Black Shadow. I recently saw two videos, JPO and Greg Gallant, using their French Black Shadow, and I'm like, you know what? I have a French Black Shadow. I haven't used it in a little while because I've been focusing a lot on cauticles. But I said, you know what? Let's pull out the French Black Shadow and put an edge on this Wade and Butcher. So we're going to get going here. You can see I have a new sink bridge, so I'm not as close to the faucet. Gonna make things a lot easier. Definitely gives me a little bit more room here too. Much smaller footprint on this one. Let me just check this real quick. I'll make sure that's nice and tight there. All right, let's get going. Hope you guys are all doing well. Hope your New Year is off to a good start. I spent most of the day so far doing the books for the end of the year for the business. The not so fun part of owning a small business. You know what? Hang on one second. I'm going to move this back a little bit. So I just kind of noticed I was kind of getting close to that leg. Got a little camera stand here, and I was getting close to the leg. Been watching some of you guys, some of your videos. Just watched Sean's video today. Excellent, excellent video. Sean was talking about how he had an opinion on using tape, and then after speaking to Greg and Eric, two people that he has tremendous respect for. I think two people that we all have tremendous respect for. He realized that maybe his opinion was, maybe he was wrong in what he was saying. So I have tremendous respect for that. That is not something you see every day. You see far too many people giving their opinion and having no interest in hearing anyone else's opinion. So that was a breath of fresh air. But I know what he's talking about. I've had certain opinions when it comes to honing or, really anything. But we're talking about honing. And after talking to some people, you realize that there's some validity to what they're saying, and then you kind of maybe change your thinking a little bit. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. I honed a couple of razors already on this bridge. It took a little getting used to because it does sit just a little bit lower. So I feel like I'm really leaning over on it. So I'm trying not to put a ton of pressure on. Sorry about that. I had to cut away here real quick. Sadie and I are both working on end of the year things for the business, and she had a quick question. Didn't feel like shouting up to her on camera. All right, let's see how we're doing. I'll give this a quick check. Okay. Well, that didn't take long. Usually doesn't. All right. We'll go a little bit longer here, and then we'll start moving on. This one seems to be honing quite nicely. I have another Wade and Butcher that I'm going to be working on. It's more of I think it's more of a wedge. or near wedge. It's one I struggled with before, but I think I know what I'm going to do to get it sorted out now. So watching some other videos of guys honing wedge razors. Got a couple of good tips, so I'm going to give them a shot. All right, let's see what we got here. Yep, good. That is good. We're moving on. We'll move on to 5K. We won't be here on. We won't be on the stone very long. We got a nice undercut here. This is moving along nicely. I always worry sometimes with these Wade and Butchers. Well, not just the Wade and Butchers, but some of these older vintage razors. You should never know. This was actually one of the razors I had posted about the other day that I was working on. Actually never got a chance to hone it that day. Nothing like a nice relaxing honing session to get your mind off the nonsense. I'm just going to finish up here and then we'll move right over to the 8. I was looking at these Shapton Rockstar synthetic stones. My understanding is they are just like the Shapton glass. It's basically the Shapton glass stones without the glass backing. They're fairly inexpensive, or I should say they're reasonably priced. Rinse this off a little. I was thinking about picking one of those up. They have a 16,000 grit stone. That has me a little curious. So I might grab one of those. Just to play around with it and see. My synthetics, the Niwa and my Shapton only go up to, I'll put some more water in here, go up to 12. But I am curious about a 16K synthetic. And I'm a fan of Shapton stones anyway, so I'm curious to see what kind of a shaving edge it produces. Now we all know there is definitely a difference between a natural edge and a synthetic edge. I think this past year alone, I've become much more inclined to prefer a natural edge, especially having worked with the cauticles as much as I have, and all the tips that I've gotten from Eric. I've become much more appreciative of the natural stone edge. Now, I've talked about it before. I have several different natural stones, and I've always gotten great edges from them. But it wasn't until probably this year I started to really pay attention to the difference. But I am curious how that edge would feel. Guessing maybe not much more, not much different than a 12. But it's fun to, that's the fun part about this hobby. There's all kinds of different things you can try and all kinds of different stones, and whether you're prefer to hone on synthetics or natural stones, there's just so much out there for you. And you learn different things. You learn different techniques. You learn little tips and tricks. And maybe you take your synthetic stone and find a way to make that edge really exceptional using a tip or a trick that you got from honing on a synthetic. I'm sorry, a natural stone. So we'll see. That's the fun part. So many different things you can do with honing. There's no one right way. There's so many different ways to do this. The right way is the one that works for you. The one that you prefer, the one that gives you the shaving edge that you're comfortable with. For years I shaved with just synthetics because I was scared of the natural stones. I was intimidated by it, but now I shave with both. Get this out of the way. Move these here. Make sure I rinse those off really good. Usually before I put my stones away, I give them all a quick lap. A good rinse and a quick lap. Let them dry and put them away. I think we're just about done here on this. It feels like we're just about done on this. That's another thing too I've started to learn this past year, was paying attention to how the stones feel when I'm honing. One of the tips I had learned from watching Devin Jackson, was looking at the swarf, watching what the swarf does to find out if you're ready to move on to the next stone or getting close to move on to the next stone. And that's a tip that I've been using a lot, and I think it's helped me out. What I'm going to do right now, just give me a second here. I'm going to change out this tape. I'll put a fresh piece of tape on here. Kind of noticed it was wearing. Starting to notice some of it wearing. Just bear with me here a minute. I'll change this out and go right to the black shadow. Black Shadow. This guy's a little bit shorter, so gotta adjust this. Just gonna give it a quick lap. I am gonna use the slurry stone. I just want to give this a quick lap. This was a 1200 Latoma. And we're not going to do a really thick slurry here. We're going to do kind of a medium slurry. And we'll water it down. We're just finishing up right now. We're just a finished edge. There we go. I think that's good. And I love how smooth this stone is. It's like honing on a piece of glass. When I first got this, I was honing on this almost exclusively for a finished edge. I had the Vermont green, but I started using this in combination with the Vermont green, and it was just exceptional edge. Never had a bad edge off of this stone. It's always served me well. Oh, there we go. Now I can feel it. This is what I was looking for. Some nice bubble cluster there. This is what I was looking for. So one thing I noticed about this stone, it lets you know very distinctly that you're there. We're gonna do some water passes, and then I think I'll just finish some finishing passes with some glycerin and water. One thing I am going to try this year, I don't know which stone I'm going to try it on, but one thing I'm going to try this year is using some oil. I've never honed with oil. I've always done glycerin and water as a substitute for oil. It's actually one of the tips I got from Matt at Griffith. You could always use glycerin and water as a substitute for oil if I didn't want to use oil. We were talking about it was about the Vermont green. I was asking him questions about it. That's where that came up. Yeah. All right, we're gonna go with some glycerin and water because we are right at the end here. These are just some very light strokes. Finish this razor. Probably won't shave with it tonight, maybe tomorrow. We'll see. I'm going to call that done. Let's give it a quick looky look here. Yep. I'm calling it done. That's going to be a good shave. All right, guys, that'll do it. That was my Wade and Butcher on a 158K Shapton, and then finished on a French Black Shadow. All right, guys, that'll do it. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and thanks for watching. Take care.